we're now diving into the world of music and one of Britain's most iconic rock bands ever. Queen and A Night at the Opera is an inside look into the band's iconic breakthrough album from 1975, which you can probably not even believe it was 50 years ago. This is the album that gave us what many consider to be the Queen's magnum opus, Bohemian Rhapsody, and author Gillian Gaar joins me. Welcome.
Hi,
we love having you.
Yeah, I love to be here.
So you first saw Queen, I heard, back in 1977 at Seattle Center Arena. What was that like?
Well, this was March 1977, and I hadn't really been to many big rock concerts before, so it was just kind of amazing from that perspective. But I think one reason it really stayed with me is that 3 months later in June, my high school graduation ceremonies were held at the same venue.
Wow.
So there I'm getting my diploma, and I thought, I'm on the same stage as Freddie Mercury.
That's gotta feel amazing.
That was exciting.
And you've seen the band, I understand, 4 different times, right? So with Freddie, once with Paul Rogers, and one time with Adam Lambert.
Yeah, well, I saw him 4 times with Freddie. So, you know, now that's kind of like when people say, oh, you saw the Beatles or you saw Elvis. So I can say, I saw Queen with Freddie.
There he is, yes.
Twice in Seattle and twice in England. And when they reunited and brought Paul Rogers back as the lead singer, I saw that was at the Coliseum here. And then when I got the contract for this book, I thought I should see the new lineup with Adam Lambert. Because a friend of mine had seen that lineup a number of times. She said, Adam is so great, you know, you should go see him, he's excellent. And they weren't coming to Seattle at that time, but they were on the West Coast.
Oh.
So I flew to San Francisco to see them. And I had some credits with the airline, so I could fly first class just, you know, for the 2 hours it takes to get there.
Style.
Well, see, it was Queen. So I thought I'm going to do a Queen type thing. I had sparkling wine on the way down, had champagne at the concert, and it just all seemed to fit the vibe.
What did you think about Adam Lambert, too?
She's right. He was really good. I mean, Paul Rogers is a good singer, but he's more a hard rock kind of blues type singer. And he even said he couldn't really do the lighter material. When they first announced that lineup, he said, you know, but don't expect me to wear tights, you know, like Freddie. So fair enough. But I don't know if Adam wore tights, but there were a lot of costume changes.
Amazing.
And he could handle the campier sides as well as the serious stuff. And yeah, I would recommend it.
Okay.
Very much.
Well, and you would know, obviously. And this may be the first book on the Night at the Opera album. So what can people find in this?
Well, it's the publisher, Motor Books. They have kind of a series along this time, these lines, great albums. And a couple years ago, they put out Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon for 2023. So I'm thinking, so what other big albums have an anniversary coming up? So this one. And they'd kind of set up a template of how these books go, so that laid it all out for me how to do it. You focus on the band before they record the album, and there are a couple chapters just on the making of the album. A chapter on how they recorded it, which obviously this one, probably their more complex album up to that time, and maybe ever, really. And then you have chapters on the songs themselves, and chapters on the immediate success of the album. You know, what kind of awards it got and certifications, platinum records, that sort of thing. And then about the legacy. So it does cover their career, but the focus is always on this album.
Yeah, and do you think had they not made this album, do you think Queen would have broken up?
Well, Brian May, the guitarist, he said that because by their 3rd album, they'd had some success and they had, you know, a hit in this country with Killer Queen, but, you know, they weren't doing as well as they wanted. And they were having some issues with their management. They felt the money wasn't coming in fast enough, which in fairness, that can be delayed with sales, book sales, record sales. It has to go through so many places where it gets to. And they were feeling frustrated. And I think that's one reason they went for broke on this album. They just thought, we're just going to do it how we want it, and we are just going to push the envelope as far as we can because we have nothing to lose.
True. Amazing. Okay, and why do you think after so many years too, and obviously so many different frontmen and stuff, that Queen remains so popular?
Well, I guess I would put it down to the songs initially, and maybe a lot had to do with Freddie when he was here because you know, he was one of rock's stellar frontmen. I think we can all agree on that. Whether you like him or not, he was a strong, compelling lead singer. But ultimately, it's the songs. Because, gosh, when was it? I think they didn't go out with Paul Rogers until maybe 2005 or so, I think it was. So that's a long time when they weren't out there, because their last tour was in '86. But the songs still remained popular, so I think that just shows their longevity. People like the music.
And speaking of that, we have to know, curious minds must know, do you have a favorite album? Do you have a favorite song that you can tell everyone about?
Well, I think it would have to be Night at the Opera. It was one reason I pitched it to the publisher. You know, I saw it was coming up to half a century, which, yes, that's hard to believe. But so I'm telling the publisher, yeah, we got to do this one. It's Queen, you know, and they're still popular in this age. And you've got Wayne's World and all these other things that happened after the album came out. So it's just such a diverse album, which is another thing I like about it. All the musical styles are very different throughout. And I suppose, you know, maybe it sounds typical, but Bohemian Rhapsody, I suppose, would have to be my favorite, because it is kind of the ultimate Queen song. Talk about different styles. I mean, there's, you know, 3 different styles in that song alone.
I know.
You think you're going to hear a ballad, but then there's an opera section, and then it's hard rock. So
it's something for everyone, I guess. Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing your passion. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you.